for
birds.
us.
Go birds. Go
So
birds.
it's so great that the Eagles won.
Right.
It's also let's recut
No
that.
editing on this show though, because
We're
that's
not
what's
real happy. We're
happening.
not real happy that the Chiefs won.
Right. Right.
So we'll edit that. So,
No
edit that
editing.
later.
No editing. But pretty fun. Let's hit up some plugs. Let's get it together. We got a busy day trying to get tons of shows recorded today. Let me do the plugs. Let me do the quick screen share and the plugs.
All right. Plugs up top.
All right,
Here's what we got.
uh, I was going to pause it and I did not.
All right. We can briefly talk about the backgrounds while you get that up, Mark.
Oh,
This. Oh yeah, I just found this online. I thought that was funny. I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share this comic strip on my Twitter and maybe my Facebook.
who did this? Was
I
this
don't know. I just randomly found it online. It's a hilarious Joker comic strip where like Joker's like, watch this, and he's got a Pepsi in one hand, Coke in the other. And Batman's like, Joker, wait. And Joker's like, I don't give a damn. And then
Oh
he
my
mixes the
God.
Coke and the Pepsi. I'm like, ugh.
Oh, that's funny.
It is
That's
funny. It's gross. Like,
that is
I,
gross.
I
I
grew
always
up on
thought,
Pepsi,
did you ever
but
do the milk and Pepsi? What was that, Laverne and Shirley? I never did that.
I can't imagine. I grew up on
Yeah,
Pepsi, but as an adult, I like Coke better. Um,
I still on Pepsi.
what was that?
Can't do it. I'm still on Pepsi. I can't do it.
That's fine.
I can't do Coke.
Listen, you know why Pepsi would always win the Pepsi challenge?
More bubbles.
It tastes sweeter.
Hmm.
So in small amounts, people like Pepsi. But when you have to drink a full cup, people prefer Coke.
We don't. No one needs the full cup anymore. We're old. We nothing
I,
doesn't
yeah,
leave right here.
I gotta,
Stays right here.
not a lot of Coke. Don't want that diabetes knocking on my door.
Diabetes.
Diabetes. All right.
But here's the plugs up top. We got our this is on the Twitters. Or
No,
no, this is on the Facebooks.
this is Facebook. Awestruck Comics Facebook. It's connected to our podcast, but we don't do anything with it. It's still a house of my old comic strips. People seem to like the Angry Walt comic strips the best. So,
Relatable.
yeah, they're just funny. I think they're funny. I write them. Brian Milligan draws it. Our friend Dexter Weeks has been coloring it. Dexter Weeks is
I
the
like the
most
colors.
professional. He's the most professional out of all of us, and he does this like in like an hour. Like he bangs these out, but he's like a real professional colorist. He's worked on Disney books and
Hmm.
Star Wars stuff, and we love Dex Weeks. I think he just did a Kickstarter for his independent book, Coney Waves, which he created with Mark Polton.
Oh yeah,
So
South Jersey. South
South
Jersey,
Jersey,
baby.
South Jersey comic people. Mark Polton wrote an Evangeline series for Liefeld. Got about 10 issues out before it got canceled. I think they have three more completed, which you could read on Keen Spot at one point. So now our plugs are going to our friends.
Right. That's fine.
So that's fine. Next week, you can check him out on Instagram. We like to joke that he's an old man just because he's in his early 50s. But he acts young, seems young. He's another UPSer. There are so many creators who are at UPS, maybe just for the benefits.
Mhm.
Mike Caprati, he's a digital painter. He does a lot of video game work now. He's another guy who was Dex's assistant, worked at UPS. He painted some of Liefeld's Deadpool core covers
Oh,
and
okay.
actually
Right.
did other stuff for Liefeld that's gone unpublished. Really good looking stuff.
We got to get it published. We need everything published.
Well, yeah, yeah,
Everything, everything published. Here's your Rob Messick, not 76
right. Rob Messick on
Twitters.
Twitter going through the the Youngblood covers and ads and promos, trying to do an image a day up until the release of the new Youngblood book.
Jap, yep.
This is a Chap Yap Masada. She's a new character that was created just for Team Youngblood. So she's
That's
Israeli?
Rob Live.
Israeli? I forget. I should have did more research. I know she grows and she becomes more powerful as she grows. It's a good addition to the team.
I just looked on the
So
side. It was kind of turning my head because I was trying to see the copyright. Copyright does say Rob Liefeld, but because Dutch is oh no, yeah, Dutch is Chap Yap, right?
yeah, today
It's
actually,
official.
today's image will be Dutch.
Oh
When I get to it after our show.
yeah, Dutch baby.
Yeah, Liefeld saw Chap Yap drawn Dutch. He's like, that's an awesome character. Can I put him in Youngblood? And Chap Yap's like, yeah, sure. So
Yeah, Dutch has a fun concept in the last couple of years because we saw the Dutch miniseries coming out for Imager. Like, how is this even happening? And it's because essentially Joe Casey was able to talk to Chap Yap, I suppose, and then put out in the Image 10th anniversary books, the anthologies. He had
30th.
Was that the 30th anniversary?
Yeah,
Yeah. So then he had the so many pages per, and then they collected it into Dutch Zero.
yeah,
It was
and then
Nathan Fox's art, and then was it Simon Gain did the ongo did the
yes, then we
mini?
got right. Then he did the miniseries of Dutch, which is good. It's a good miniseries, and that leads into the new series Blood Squad 7.
Right, which might maybe not cease to exist, but it's becoming less. It will become essentially less relevant. But I think
It's less,
whoever's reading that is in the small zeitgeist of that anyway. So that's
yeah.
fine.
I feel like he's getting away from what, like, it's an homage to Youngblood. I think he's getting away from that. Also on the Rob Messick 76, you'll see here I have an original art piece by Sam Keith of Wolverine and Venom, and below that is a Bruce Timm Emma Frost. This is a where not only am I doing a Youngblood page a day, I'm also doing whatever random fun stuff I can find.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people like this Sam Keith Venom Wolverine
Was
because
that a commission or what?
it
What?
looks like a commission because it's not
Yeah.
from the series. It's very detailed. It's very cool looking. Or maybe it's just an unused thing. Don't know, but it's
Yeah, I
cool
can't.
looking.
It's hard to tell because like I think with Sam Keith, I'm trying to look at like well, where the flourishes or how much watercolor might be, and trying to like place it in that, which you can kind of with other people. Like I think Kelly Jones, I can kind of see if it's pre ongoing series Kelly Jones, right?
Right.
Versus like him inking himself later with Swamp Thing and things. So
Sam
there's
Keith,
a
yeah, he went
but.
to watercolors for a while, and then like he realized like, oh, people really like the arm hair. So when he did the Max Batman, he tried to do more arm hair, more detail, and more the phone cords, that's what we like to call it. That
Oh
was
yeah,
the ripped costumes. And this is the Maximum Supreme page I do. It's just a page a day of
butts.
Supreme. This is Glory. This is Glory's butt. Probably
It,
done by Mike Diodato. I think Mike Diodato actually liked this one, so that was kind of cool.
Mike Diodato created pretty much 90s butts because I feel like the Wonder Woman when he took over Wonder Woman then did like created Artemis and all that stuff. I feel like that it went two things. So Artemis basically just had like a thong, and then I think everything went from that, and then I feel like everything was just kind of like every girl's in thong
Yeah,
things.
yeah. I think he's
Costume
very,
wise, that's probably not that great to have in real life. you know. And
was it
then I think even Diodato did like the boy shorts on Wonder Woman, right? That was like a bad costume design, but I like that.
all right, right. I
I always
remember
thought it
that.
looked good. So,
Huh.
and then the Artemis miniseries, which was done by who did the Artemis miniseries? Who did that? Was that Diodato or that was
Or was it
somebody?
Bennis?
It was early Ed Benes. Yep, it was
Yeah.
early Ed Benes before different
Who
later Ed
who
Benes.
who was in the Mike Diodato studios, the Glass House Studios. Yeah, the
Uh,
Sabretooth came out last week, and I'm like, the regular cover's okay. The miniseries is okay. It's got its
it's fine.
issues.
Yeah,
But this Kyle Hotz cover, I
we
sent
love
it to you.
Kyle
I'm like, this
Hutz.
is so awesome looking, dude. He looks so
Yeah.
cool. Sabretooth is one of my favorite X-Men characters since I got into comics.
I always think it's funny that his signature has love. I guess he's still with it. I think it used to be EK or EKG. It was EK. I think it was just before me. I suppose they're married, but me on my post second divorce, like I just think it's funny. I'm like, well, good thing they didn't get to then everything he looks at the old it has like her like love in there. That's funny.
That's cool.
And then the other variant is Polina. Is that right?
Yeah, Adam Polina.
Which he's
Dude,
getting work for with Cruel Kingdom and EC stuff. I feel like I keep seeing his stuff over there.
yeah, and he's doing some Oni covers for their Nostelverse line.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
I didn't read
So
it yet, but I got the Power Lords book. Um, and I'm really interested to read that because I remember the Power Lords as a kid, but like I never really had those toys. They were like one of those weird things that just came and gone.
yeah, I remember the ads. I remember the ads more than I remember like same thing like Crystar. Like I don't remember any of those toys. I remember like the ads and the
Yeah,
stuff around the comics. I
you
think
know
I
what it
had a
was?
Parallax comic when I was a kid. Mark
I
Texeira.
always had I always had friends that had the toys more than me. I was very poor. Sad,
We
sad
went over
bastard.
our friend's house. That was my
We
friend. That
did.
was Steve Miller up the road. I'd go over to his house more
Oh yeah, Nicky Morrow was my neighbor who like had every
often.
he his his parents got into it more than he was, and they like he had every He-Man, even like the rare like model kits. Like there was a
Yeah.
Skeletor Tack Track that wasn't a real toy; it was like a model that
Okay.
you put together, but it was like awesome looking. It was an awesome looking attack track. It was cooler than He-Man's attack track.
That's funny. I remember this week is on Mike Birbiglia's podcast. He had a Minaj on, and were talking. They were it's called working it out. They were talking about jokes, and they were saying, "Who is your?" He says, "You probably can't remember a lot in your life." He's like, "But who was the fastest kid who ran the fastest, who ran fastest in grade school, and you can
Oh
like
yeah.
name it
Oh yeah.
right away.
Cornell Stanley.
Right.
He was the
Yeah.
new kid in sixth grade, and we're just like, oh my
How was
God,
he
he's so
this
fast.
fast? Right,
Paul
exactly.
WSA.
So
But before him, it was this kid Kadar Ford.
how do we know that? Isn't that so funny? Isn't that so
That
nuts?
and then Cornell came in, and he just like surpassed him. We're like, holy crap!
Right. That's so funny. That's so
And
funny.
both those kids love comic books, dude.
Here's the news of the week, buddy. You sent this to me with no context, and there really is kind of no context in it because so this is off Rob Liefeld's Twitter.
Yeah.
It's Vance Victor, so alliteration, great.
Yep.
I guess that's is this Vance Victor here rather?
He
We think,
well, he doesn't have a lance, but he's got a sword. So, but it's a long sword.
right?
These are like super eternal, new god looking
Oh yeah.
dudes. It's Last Blood Final Stand, but it's not the final issue of Last Blood. Like
Well,
this
that's
is a, I
yeah. I
think he said
texted
it's
you
like a
back on it.
spin-off.
I
I
was
think
like,
it's
"What
like a
is
spin-off
this?"
issue.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe it's just something else. Maybe he's world building. Like maybe he's got a
Fun.
plan. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, great. This is coming out probably this week.
This book's coming out.
Yes.
Jesus
Like
Christ!
he's
So this is not three,
this is not
because
three. This is
but
just
he's been working
something
on
else,
three.
and he's been working on three.
Jesus,
So I don't
dude.
know. This could be a surprise. It could be, drawn by someone else. I don't know. Don't know. He's Liefeld's gotten really good at keeping stuff close to the vest because he's so known for like he has so many promo ads for stuff that never came out or came out, real early. Like he's an excited dude. He loves it. He loves comics and he loves sharing his stuff. So it's very difficult for him to keep stuff in, and he's gotten
Hmm.
very good at it. So when he releases stuff, it's like it'll come out, you know. And he said this week, I think this is coming out this week.
Oh my God.
So, we'll review it,
Yeah. Well, that's
It-
exciting. Yeah, because we're going to be doing a Last Blood separate review. Starblood, the launch of Starblood, the special feature, Awestruck special feature.
yes.
Yeah, there's just a big detail of that. Yeah, just really crazy good. I'm very curious on this, but yeah,
Yeah,
do it.
with no idea what they are, no idea, anything.
So, other news of the week. What are your overall feelings with this Fantastic Four First Steps trailer?
I like it. I give it a thumbs
Uh,
up. It's just it's not enough. It's not
mhm.
enough of anything. So I feel like everything will get better. Like this looks neat. This effect over Invisible Woman. Yeah, she's really good casting. Everyone likes her right now.
Yeah,
The
I think they went away. So, here basically these are the four big shots. These are the actual high res shots they put out from the trailer, right?
okay.
Besides screen caps. These are literally official four screens. And I don't think that, you know, it's funny. I almost feel like that's good. This is, of course, Reed doing math, doing
Doing
something
math
big.
on a chalkboard.
There you go. That's fine. We were trying to figure out, uh, got a good Herbie there, very analog Herbie.
Yes.
I don't know if I am sold on the thing yet. I think it's better that he has like a sweater thing on. He's wearing like that because I feel we're going to have more trouble. Or maybe they did. Maybe, I mean, again, the interesting thing is they can kind of recostume test as they go, right? They could probably have this scene with all rocks.
The thing is, the thing wants to
The
wear a shirt.
thing is,
The thing is, he wants to wear a shirt. He's still a human underneath. So the idea of walking around without a shirt all the time, he's not that type of person before.
oh,
So
I
why
see.
would he be that type of person now? Like the thing walks around in his big underwear. It's like he'd probably be comfortable in pants. Not that he feels the comfort, but it's like people just like to be dressed. Not
Yeah,
everyone. Not everyone. I know people who hate shirts. You know, you go over
right.
their house and I'm like, come on, dude, put a shirt on. Like
You should.
you
Yeah,
got
you
you
really
got
should.
company. You really should.
I guess in either way, you're never comfortable, right? So if they are really like cut, then you feel bad about your body, right? But then if
Yeah.
they're not it's not attractive, you're like, please put a shirt on.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah, just leave a shirt on.
I,
Maybe
I
that's a
haven't
good
bought
rule of thumb.
all my shirts are too big for me right now. I haven't bought any. I mean, I've gotten some of my smaller shirts out of storage, you know?
Yeah, I gained some XLs when I was a 2X, so now I've gained some XLs with the loss of weight.
Yeah.
Do it.
So, but I think the thing looks good. Hopefully, they really double down on his weight and how hard it is to be the thing. He's moving very fast, which is fine. It looks weird
Mm.
though. Like we almost expect him to move slower or talk slower.
Yeah, I don't
But
know if I
like,
got enough feel for any of it. Like even this, I feel like they because we've seen multiple Johnny Storms, I feel like this was the only time you saw just a flame but you didn't see how detailed it was in comparison to the three other that we've gotten. Technically,
Yes.
the three other Johnny Storms that we've gotten.
Yeah.
So
I
let me
like that this like the flames are different colors and it actually looks like it's propelling him forward. It looks like a
mm.
jet stream, like the way it's moving him. They're smarter about this movie. They're really trying to be smart about this movie.
Yeah, I
Like,
hope so. I mean, they're well, we were kind of going back and forth like, what is this retro futurism thing? It's all design. It's all Sid Mead designs, basically. That's what we were trying to talk about earlier in the week, which they did quite a bit in Incredibles. That makes I used to have it. I don't know. It's got to be somewhere in storage. I know I didn't sell it, but I had the Art of the Incredibles, which had a lot of art that didn't look like the movie, but it was all just like, the way Pixar works, it's all that just it's mood and feel and shape. And then it'll turn into something else. So the art of the Pixar books, if you ever find them around, they're very different. So you're not getting like a lot of the Marvel art books. It's like, here's a scene we already saw. They
yeah,
try to make
yeah.
it as realistic as. Um, but I think, yeah, I think here as the main team shot, it's kind of funny looking a little bit. There's no Reed stretchy stuff at all in here.
No,
I do like the white I do like the white over the arm stuff. I think that it's all around pretty cool.
I
I can't
I
really tell what
l-
I'm looking at here. If this is like a press conference or this is just like their living room that turns into an
I
action
like
figure display. It looks like an
that
action
the
figure
thing.
display.
It does. It does. I like that the thing is shorter than Reed when he's the thing.
Mhm.
I don't know if you noticed or not. Like in the comics, Kirby always drew thing kind of short. Thing is
Right.
6 foot. Reed's maybe 6'2". But when Reed's talking to Ben Grimm, the human, Ben Grimm's taller than
He
him.
was taller. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So I find that interesting. And
Yeah.
you saw the pictures of the where this is compared to a Beatles shot, like one of the Beatles performances early on was a
Oh
very
no.
similar stage.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes
It's it's
sense.
it's kind of an homage to an early Beatles thing.
I think
So
my
yeah.
favorite part of it was that they have the crap. What's the masks? I forget what the Halloween masks. The Halloween masks were like, I think that's the actual
Oh, the
like
Ben Grimm. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
they're
yeah.
the what's that guy's name? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But I thought that was pretty fun.
Or
That was pretty fun.
College Town, Collegeville was it Collegeville. They had a big costume company out there.
Uh, so I just want to bitch a little bit about this is my Instagram. I want to bitch a little bit about Instagram this week
Oh yeah.
because I I have an O light ring. I bought a new holder for it for my iPad that broke. My previous one broke. I took a bunch
Hmm.
of pictures. I'm doing a pre-Greg Russell month, a couple days behind because that's life. But I don't understand where I'm taking 10, 12 pictures in a row and then I put them through the same filter through all of them. And then when I re-edit them, by the time they go to publish, they actually went only three or four went three or four went darker. And I'm like, I don't have enough time in my life to go back and decide like, okay, because in this one post, literally, it's like it's almost three different. It looks like three different photos, three different photo shoots. It's one photo shoot. It's one
Okay.
quick photo shoot of a comic book, and I go in, then I put it through usually the filter through like Hyper, and then I'll go in, then I'll up and down all of the different things I like: brightness, contrast, saturation. Uh, what's that vignette? And for whatever reason, and I don't know why, and I don't know. There's no like real like area. Maybe I should join Facebook to go on a Facebook message group to argue about how the filters somehow became shitty in
You
Instagram. They
you should
added
be
a
on
bunch.
you should be on Facebook.
I don't know, man. It's
I
too
know.
much. It's too much drama.
No, there's so many cool groups to be on. Like no matter
Yeah.
what you like, there is a P. Craig Russell group. There is a probably a P. Craig Russell this book group. Like there's so many
Yeah, I'm sure.
individual groups. There's a lot of fun stuff on there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm trying to do so many different things. I'm going to do another Home Sweet Home after I finish some more stuff in my office. I want to do like so. I did like a Home Sweet Home post a couple weeks ago where I showcased like the one area where I have like a Sean Phillips like section and my original artwork for Sean Phillips, but I just redid a bit of my comic side over there. So I have a photography area. I moved my stereo over, so I kind of redid some stuff. So I really like the way things are looking in my office. But yeah, I want to do one talking about my collection a little bit, where I did my collection for the most part by creator, and then by creator by chronological and alphabetical order. So insane. So do a, all right. So Super Bowls today. So the background I got back here is that was the Jack Kirby kind of space football, which I've had up before. So
I
it's
love
funny.
that.
Yeah, it's funny that you have a Kirby-esque thing back there. It's a Liefeld Kirby-esque thing, and I have a
Yeah,
Kirby thing. So that's pretty awesome.
that's
But yeah,
cool.
I love the colors on it. It's really kind of crazy.
You know,
Kirby dots.
I was thinking, I was looking at your background. It reminded me of Kirby's Lord of Light stuff, which is really gorgeous work. Did he ever do anything with that, or was that just the stuff for? Was the Lord of Light was just for the what was Argo stuff, right? Was that just for
Just
Argo?
to free people. Yeah, basically. Yeah,
So
it was a well, I think it was literally like a Robert Zelazny like treatment or story, and then he drew stuff to it. I don't think he was knowingly drawing it to it not be a project. You know what I mean? So
I'm surprised nobody grabs that stuff to make a project out of.
there is a heavy metal I found a heavy metal like pirate file recently, but it didn't have that issue. And I feel like someone else just recently got heavy metal, and I want them to do. I almost joined last week. It was kind of tough. Is there's a comics journal website. It is the comics journal, but I think it's $30 a year, and
Yeah.
you can access every comics journal. And I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
ooh, that's kind of good. Maybe we split that. Maybe I give you my login, and that might be a good investment.
I want
It's pretty good. It's a pretty
I
good
want
idea.
more of that. I'm surprised Wizard never did that.
Alan Moore of that.
Yes, Alan
Alan
Moore has
Moore
some
of
really
that.
good Comic Journal interviews.
Alan Moore of
Um,
that.
not only the comic journals, Wizard should have done it.
Hmm.
Comic Shop News should have done it. I would love
Hmm.
a website of Comic Shop News. You're
Yeah.
looking at 52 issues a year. They did that for at least. It's still going. You can still get Comic
So
Shop
weird.
News.
That's so funny. That's so
Cliff,
funny. It's still
that's
going.
that's
So,
Cliff Biggers, dude. I love Cliff Biggers.
yeah.
Really, really nice guy. I would love to interview him. He did those awesome 80s comics, True Fan Adventures and
Mm.
Bafo Laughs. They are really in deep. They're
Oh,
deep in the weeds. They're like a Fred Hembeck level of like in the
you made
weeds
a lot of
about
money. Is it
comics.
Buffalo Labs you made money off of? Yeah. Wasn't that something that Buffalo Labs 1 has a hologram or something?
It's the first comic to have a hologram cover in the
I have one.
80s.
I got it for $1.
No, I still have mine.
I dig it.
And True Fan Adventures, mine are kind of not in great shape now because they are Golden Age sized. They're a little
Hmm.
bigger, so the top's got a little. I think I stored them for a while without bags and boards when I was. They're early. They're early in my collection. Anything I bought in the 80s when I was a kid is not in great shape,
Right, right, right.
and that's some of them. Plus, like
It's
I
fun
couldn't
though.
afford bags and boards for a while.
Yeah, the relationship of right bags and boards are funny. It's back and forth. Like I like all my stuff out for the most part. So and now that I have it in a better storage area, I had some of my stuff in the basement. And you came over one day, you're like, don't keep your stuff down here. You were adamant. You're like, get it out of here.
Yeah,
And I
don't
did.
keep comics in your basement. It's
No.
too wet. It's too moist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Moist. You
So,
keep your comics in the basement, and it's too moist.
so here's some interesting news. See, I get nervous. So there was a rumor this week essentially that 30 parties are currently looking into Diamond Comic Service, but I don't really know what that means because I don't know if that means they want to take over the stuff as is. It does need someone to take it over and then like clean house, right? Like, so I don't know if they're there to clean house or break it apart or I don't know
Yeah.
what that
Who's
means.
coming
30
into
parties
I know who's coming in
seems
to
like a
actually
lot.
build a great distribution system because we need that. Small press needs that. They need to have a they need to rebuild it for the toys, the clothes, all that stuff that Diamond does extra that comic book stores need. The access to Hasbro and Mattel.
Mhm.
But we also need someone who's there for like the little people, the people who only sell 800 copies of a comic, the people who do Kickstarters and then try to sell it on the back end to comic stores. Like we need that. So
Right,
we need a
right,
company that's actually going to do that and not someone who's going to load it up with debt like they did with Toys R Us. I'm always going to bring up that Toys R Us thing because it pisses me off
right,
because
right,
Toys
right,
R Us was a viable company and they just loaded up with all their fake debt, and destroyed it. And that's what I don't want to see.
right,
I
right,
don't
right.
need venture capitalists buying Diamond.
Yeah, I always think of what was it like? That's literally what a lot of that's what I'm thinking of the person. I'm thinking of Richard Gere, right? What was Richard Gere and like Pretty Woman? He's like he buys stuff and just breaks apart the company, right? I
Yeah,
don't want that here either.
that's
So I don't
that's
want
what
Richard Gere here. That's what I don't want.
no, that's
Um,
what uh who ran against Obama the second time. I A different name came in my head and now I'm totally messed up. The Mormon guy who became a senator now. Oh my God, it's killing me.
I don't know any I
Stupid.
only know
The
comic book
name.
people.
Anyway, he ran against Obama, and that's what he did. He's so rich because he would buy companies and just destroy them,
Take it
separate them,
apart.
take it apart. Like he ruined a lot of lives. That's one of the reasons I didn't. And he's a fine senator from Utah, and he's actually very. Let's just stop talking about politics. I don't. This is
Uh,
a comic book show. You're here to enjoy comics, not.
yeah, I guess what's nerve-wracking about a lot of these articles is that like I see a piece of the article where it says like everything needs to be done by X date. And I'm like, oof. And the dates are like close. The date's like April. And I'm like, or everyone's fired. So that's what I get nervous about. I'm just like, well,
Yeah.
I read one article, it says chapter 13, and like, well, a lot of stuff's still going to keep going through Diamond for until further notice. Then I see one like, oh, well, no, auditors are going to come in. They're going to do the books. The books are wrong. Everyone's fired. And I still have friends down there. So it's like, ooh, okay, is everyone fired? Yeah, maybe I'll do some I probably have to go on Facebook for that. See that? I don't know if I have a lot of these people's contact. I got a Facebook. Ugh. But I gotta maybe contact some people down there to see if I can get a little bit more insider information, just to see what they're hearing. Not even really insider information, just like, hey, what are they telling you guys? Are you guys all fired? Are you looking for other jobs? Like, how scary is it down there? Um,
No, it's serious. Like it's there's a lot of people's lives on the line here,
yeah.
livelihoods. You know.
Um, so next door, I just kind of took bits of the Bleeding Cool article. We know a little bit more about this. Most recent observations podcast got everywhere, including the Hollywood Reporter. Actually, there's a lot. This got clickbaited out. But basically, Liefeld was talking about the premiere of Deadpool Wolverine, which at the time I think he talked around it on the show initially when Deadpool Wolverine came out because he didn't want to give it any type of like bad press or anything, right?
Right.
But apparently, this week he talks about the actual premiere and and I talked to you a few times about this week, is it where he was kind of the other premieres, his whole family was invited, right? And this
Right.
he was invited, him plus one, him and Joy
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll bring his wife. He'll bring his daughter. Bring his son. He's always been. Uh, he's one of the faces of comics.
Mhm.
He's out there. He's got the number one comic book podcast unintentionally. He didn't go after that, but he
Right.
just
No ad
people
revenue. Right.
no ad revenue. People just flock to hear his inside stories, his history, his opinions on the comics industry then and now. And he held the story back for 8 months. You
Right,
know,
right, right. Because he's almost out of the Deadpool team up. There's one more issue,
his
right? Is
yeah,
that it?
that last issue comes out this week. Deadpool team up number 5.
Right. So he can kind of be like, all right, well, I've already publicly ended my relationship, which I was like, I don't want that because I want my Killraven book, right? Which I don't think we'll ever be able to get, but especially now with this. But at the same point, we probably weren't going to get it anyway because it just seems that there's some reasoning, and maybe it was the two things that make no sense to me in the last few years. This is, and he talks about this, is that Roy Thomas made a phone call. Don't know if he waited for Len Wein to die, but you can go back and find that podcast that he did where he goes over all the different things and find the receipts. You can pull up a bunch
Yeah.
of Roy Thomas receipts. And listen, I have a giant Conan collection. It's getting bigger every week, right? And I love
Hmm.
Roy Thomas in that. I love that Roy Thomas. I love that Roy Thomas. I like Infinity Incorporated All-Star Squadron Roy Thomas, right?
Yeah,
But I
absolutely.
don't like this Roy Thomas who just decided one day, sitting around going like, maybe I'll just decide I'm the co-creator of Wolverine. Like he only said like there should be a Canadian guy. I think he even said maybe even said the name, but everything else that's involved inside the Wolverine creation is John Romita Sr., Len Wein, Herb Trimp. That's it.
Yeah,
Not Roy Thomas.
but if you're going to try to if Roy Thomas is trying to get credit, like
Would
he's
then
said in the
Claremont
past.
would have more right to say, well, I want more character credit. You know what I mean? But he's not going to do that. He's not going to do
No,
that.
no. And Dave Cockrum had said, like, well, I had already given the name Wolverine to Roy Thomas. I went in and said, oh, there should be a character called Wolverine. And then Roy Thomas is like, oh, maybe he said that. I forget. He's like, it sounds likely. I'm like, no, he definitely did.
Yeah.
So like, then Dave Cockrum should have more credit than Roy Thomas.
Right, right, right. Yeah. And then there was
But that's another creator who's dead.
right, right, right. Yeah, so convenient. So that's convenient. And then the next bit of it basically was during the Deadpool Wolverine, I guess, preceding the movie started being made. It's now under a different studio. Liefeld asked if he could receive a credit on the front end. How are they going to publish? How are they going to have it? Because in general, it's not. I'm trying to think about the Marvel movies. If
No,
of course,
they're all at the end, real small sometimes, you know,
At the
and they thank
end, yeah, it's like the last 2 minutes. It's like all it's down.
yeah, it's down at the end, and they're small, and it's they thank people who like worked on something that maybe they took one line from a comic book
Mhm.
or the one idea from a comic book, and that person will get credited, which is fine. But like Liefeld deserves more than that. He created, you know what I mean? It should be, it the movie should start like, and Liefeld brings it up, like the first Superman movie before Richard Donner, before the Salkinds. They
Mhm.
say Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Schuster.
Right,
Like
right,
that's credit, you know. And Marvel
right.
should do the same. Like this is, you know, Marvel didn't create these characters, people did, you know. And if you're not going to pay them that much, which they're not getting paid that much,
Now we talked about a couple times. We hear the weird payouts that they'll do. They give them 10 grand. You can come to the premiere. Jim Sargent, you can come to the premiere +1. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's goofy, but like even so much where I know that the Quantumania comes out, right? And I think that there's no Bill. I don't think Bill Mantlow's in the thanks, right? But basically, there's a ton of Micronaut stuff inside of Quantumania, right?
yes, yeah,
But then they have. We want to thank Brian Michael Bendis and Brandon Peterson because they did at the very end of like their new Avengers run like one or two issues where Bendis on record said, "Hey, can I do some Micronaut shit in here?" And they're like, "Not exactly." So that's where they had to come up with the like
right,
that's that's him adapting. So they're like, "Okay, let's thank the guy who couldn't do what he wanted to do, but he did something." So Bendis can go. I don't think Bendis went to the premiere, but like Brandon Peterson, I believe, went to the premiere. Like, listen, if I was invited to the premiere, even ancillary, of course, that's cool. But that's what you're saying. So you're saying you're thanking Brandon Peterson. You know what I mean? Like
right.
it's weird. Not that I don't want Brandon Peterson. You get my point.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, we love Brandon Peterson. Super nice guy.
so basically, yeah, this is basically kind of coming out saying my final work, blah blah blah, last work at Marvel, which
And they offered him more work. Like Marvel Comics likes Liefeld.
mm,
CB Cebulski, he's the editor in chief of Marvel, likes Liefeld. He's
right.
like, hey, can we do a 35th anniversary X-Force special? Can you write the new Cable series and do covers? He goes, hey, if you stick around, maybe we'll finally get that Killraven out. And it just wasn't enough to
Yeah.
woo Liefeld back.
Well,
Liefeld's
there's ego, man. It's the
there is ego.
egos. There was a lot of mistakes, that I mean, it says it in the article. Basically, he called or his agent called, and they, said, "Hey, can we do this?" And they just ignore him, and then they have a rep supposedly scream back, "We are not Fox,"
Yeah,
and hung
Fox
up.
Fox respected the creation.
They did, yeah. But
Now,
that
mind
I
you,
wonder
not
if it comes from like an Avi Arad, is, you know, uh, he loves Liefeld, so
yeah, yeah,
very toyetic,
very.
toyetic
It is
baby.
very toyetic.
That's
He
right,
makes Avi Arad sound like Watto from Star
right,
Wars.
right, right. Yeah. So I mean,
Republican credits no good.
yeah, I mean this is I think you even mentioned this today is that after they came out and the story came out further, Liefeld recommented, "Thank you for everyone reaching out today. I appreciate you so much. I always believe that comic creators are special and deserve special treatment. It costs nothing to share a kind word," which I talk about all the time. I talk about it all
You're
the
right. You're
time.
right.
Even that was beneath Marvel and Disney. My family and I deserve common decency. We are dreamers that light the way. Maybe the situation improves for others from here forward. So hopefully that's the case. So yeah, not great. In
But you
better
know what?
news, you know,
But you know what? It's
mm,
better for us because I think the amount of work he's putting into Youngblood, the amount of stuff he's putting into Last Blood, he's going back to his extreme characters, which
it's inspired. What's behind you is very inspired. So I'm just like, okay,
yeah,
um,
this art looks really good.
fine.
Like he's
I
excited.
was
And
shy. I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, what is this? And that's going on next week too. That's even crazier. Like, because normally, see, in the world where we have previews, and unfortunately, everything's listed essentially 3 or 4 months out, we can't have surprises. Like
yeah,
Kirkman was on Liefeld's podcast. Kirkman does surprises all the time. Basically, that Walking Dead's the biggest thing you could mention is that he didn't charge extra for the last issue. Last issue comes out, it's like 52 pages long. He had fake covers for future books that didn't come out, cancel those
right.
lists. It's like it's kind of crazy. He's given the Negan book to retailers, he get the Solid Blood to retailers. Like he's done things that are not normal, and they are for, speaking of which, there's
We should
the
do an episode about Solid Blood.
yeah, I do think that's very important. That's a very important book.
That was never available
You want to
digital.
explain what Solid Blood is
Solid
before we
Blood
go to the next Skybound book
is
too?
it's a Skybound book that Robert Kirkman put out. Otley drew it, and but Otley was still technically under contract with Marvel. So his book come out, and Kirkman's like, I don't know where it came from. Maybe an alternate universe. It just showed up in the warehouse. Like he played
Mhm.
this hilarious like found footage of comics, and it's this comic that's just in the middle of its run. It's like it's a world where Walking Dead didn't take off and Invincible didn't take off. So this is the book that Kirkman's doing in another universe where like Liefeld's still part of Image. Everyone's got different positions in the company. Like everything's wrong about this comic. It literally feels like a comic from another universe.
Mhm.
Um, so it's a great comic to have. I think it's printed on like different paper.
Yeah, it's printed
Um,
on different paper. It was free to retailers. Is that right? It has no, I don't believe it has a price tag on it. I don't think it
okay,
does.
it's insane and it's great. And I'm like, I would love more of this book.
I have it. I have it right over there. Yeah, so I would be, yeah, we need to kind of do a deep dive on that, kind of go through how that was distributed because that was free to retailers. Like I think from something was whatever, maybe it was Here's Negan hardcovers or something. I feel something was involved with that. If you were to X this, then you just got a packet of 25 of this, something like that. So
That's cool.
we'll clarify that. But these were covers. It's Doug Mank week. I'm not sure, not on purpose, but he had his Batman Off World, which we'll talk about in reviews day later
Mhm.
in a different show. But here is a variant covers. This is third printing. So again, great. Skybound again, just continuing just to make more money for any
Now,
extra printing is just retailers all around.
Doug
Great.
Monkey is a phenomenal artist who I think came to everyone's awareness with the Mask. He drew the Mask miniseries and the follow-up Mask, and
He's
drew the
co-creator of the Mask, I believe. Yeah.
Lobo versus the Mask, which is really good looking. Walter the miniseries, and then he started working for DC. His Superman run is with Joe Kelly is great. He did some Justice League stuff. He really stuck with DC.
hmm
He's a
Yeah,
really
I don't know if he's ever done any Marvel work that I think about it now. Maybe a pin up here or there. I don't think so. I don't know.
yeah. I don't really recall anything right now.
But
So
but we're not sure, and we'll be real sensitive about this, of course. We're not sure. We thought it was some health issues. That Batman Off-World was 9 months in between issue 5 and 6. And again, we don't want fill-ins, so I don't care if it's late. Don't really care.
yeah,
So because I want the evergreen. I want the book potentially to give to someone, right?
yes,
But yeah, this is pretty fun. But I know on his Instagram he does animation stuff too. He messes around a bit in Premiere and Procreate, and he does little animations and a lot of real fun giant Batman. He's a bodybuilder, so
yeah.
he's huge. He's a huge dude. So, but yeah, there's an amazing cover. But you didn't even see this morning, right? When I had pulled
No,
this.
no, I didn't see this.
But
And
then
then
there's
look
like
at that.
an there's like
That's
an
awesome.
alternate like battle damage Duke, right? Just kind of crazy looking. Boop, 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 boop. I'm just gonna do this all day.
I wish that Dark Horse did something better with Masters of the Universe. Because like thinking like Doug Mankey, what reminded me of was like imagining Doug Mankey draw He-Man.
Mm,
Like how awesome would that look? He looks like he should be drawing He-Man. He
yeah.
just look in the mirror and draw himself. And then I was thinking about the He-Man. Remember Battle Damage He-Man? It's like the silver
Oh, yeah.
vest, and
He
you
smashes
touch
it.
it, and the
Yeah.
scar would come across. Like that would be a cool cover. They could do the same thing with that Battle
I
Damage.
wonder how many Battle Damage He-Man they made because I feel like if I find that second, I find Battle Damage He-Man secondhand all the time. It's very hard to find a first He-Man. I feel like He-Man came out and then they had like one or two runs of He-Man, then all of a sudden it was just variations of He-Man. But I feel like on around, I can't find He-Man. Just
Huh.
He-Man, He-Man. I mean, I can get. I listen. But
Yeah, it's not.
I'm not really
You
looking
you you
for
can
it.
find He-Man, but usually he's like he doesn't have the vest the
Yeah,
straps.
it's ripped off or
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I mean. Is find a Lion-O pure with sword, not easy. With sword and the ring thing in the back, not
Hmm.
easy. Lion-O, sure, but not Lion-O with sword.
Right.
Hard.
Right.
So, but you're right. Yeah, that's that. So more our favorite person, non-favorite. Just kidding. Yeah, so Neil Gaiman's more Neil Gaiman backlash is that DC Comics has pulled the Death Compact Edition for now, which is interesting because I feel like this was the first compact. They didn't do a Sandman compact.
Right.
They're doing a Death Compact first. So it says for now, so I'm not sure if they announced that, but it's supposed to come out in September. It's now off the schedule. It's off Amazon listings, it's off bookstore listings. Again, I think we want to do a special episode. I want to do a short of something that we came up with previously with we think that every new contract, and we kind of came up with the concepted Awestruck Comic Solutions. This is our
Right.
department. If you want to consult us for what we think things should be done, you're welcome.
Yeah.
but for free, we'll give this advice. I feel like anyone that has a contract now that we're in this post cancel culture thingy, right?
Hmm.
Anyone that has and we came up with this in the previous episode. If anyone, so in this, so say it's $100, right? Neil Gaiman gets $30, right? And then,
Right.
so let's talk about the Nazi Boys. The Nazi Boys was a book I believe it was a prose book. Dark Horse was doing the adaptation, David Mack doing the covers, Mark Bernardin doing the adaptation, Sean
Right. The
Marmbauer doing
adaptation
the
from
art.
book to comic, correct.
I imagine, for lack of better, just Clem Robbins on Routers, not sure, and say Dave Stewart, right? So you say you do 30, 20, 20, right? That's 70, 10, 10, 10, right? So say everyone got X, so everyone
Right.
got that.
Everyone gets their
So
cut.
Gaiman's probably going to get 30. There's no concept without, just because he's a bigger name,
Yeah.
he's going to get 30% of that $100. Okay. Okay, so he makes his babysitter eat shit, right? Unfortunately, right? And then asks for her to say, "Hey, you eat your own shit," and then you say, "Yes, master." Awesome. Put that. Don't take us out of context. So, not me. So he says this. She's suing him. Blah 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 blah. I believe the game his ex-wife came out this week too in a press release saying none of that. That's don't know if that's true. Blah blah blah. Please don't ask me questions. Whatever. So we think that if the issue is more of we're
Yeah,
the
because
audience,
the
right?
ex-wife gets a cut. She doesn't want to mess with her money either.
Right, exactly. So don't mess with my alimony.
True.
Um, so here's the problem that we're running into. When this was originally kind of came out, number 8 of Anansi Boys, Dark Horse says we're canceling it. Also, we're
Yeah.
canceling the hardcover. Okay,
Right.
listen.
Both of which had been solicited already.
Right. So as the audience, say I bought 7 issues, right? I now will never have the 8th issue, or I'm a trade waiter. No, I'm going to wait for the trade. I
Yep.
will never have that trade. Okay, cool. So now I have all the different Dark Horse Norse Mythology 1, Norse Mythology 2, P. Craig Russell. Then I want to have the next thing. Oh, it's not there. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of crappy all around. Not to mention that, and I don't know what technically they're supposed to make, right? On royalties, printing, but as an audience, you don't get number 8, you don't get the reprint, which also means that Mark Bernardin is not going to get his future royalty. Sean Martinbauer is going to not Glenn
Right.
Robbins, Dave
Right.
Stewart, editor, whatever, David Mack.
Not rich people. These are people who aren't rich, which is, they're fine. They're fine, I'm sure, but like they're not Neil Gaiman rich.
Right. But
You
you
know,
want the
the
ongoing
the idea is
royalties.
by not putting these books out, you're punishing Neil Gaiman, but in reality, you're punishing everyone else. Neil Gaiman will be fine.
Mhm.
He's got Sandman money forever. He's got all these books money. He's got movie, TV. He's fine.
Right.
But what two Dark Horses hurting besides themselves, because they might even have to pay kill fees to these people.
Mm. Right.
These people might they get a certain cut. They might just say, "Here's your kill fee." But Dark Horse itself isn't doing that good, so this is a bad move all around.
Yeah,
So
they fired, like, they let go 2 people, which might be normal, but they let go 2 people this week. It was all over the news. They're firing tons of people. We don't know. Actually, I don't know what percentage of the company is 2 people for them, but still not great. You're right. So our
the conclusion
kind
we
of solution,
when we were talking about bouncing ideas around, I said, well, maybe Neil Gaiman's cut. Maybe they should publish these things and just take Neil Gaiman's cut and give it to battered women's charities or
any
people
charity that might be
trafficking.
related to whatever possible offense,
Yeah,
before, again, hasn't gone to trial, alleged defense. We could say alleged, right?
yeah,
Even
yeah. You
though
can say
ton of
alleged
stuff.
offense.
Yeah, we just think that, like, there should be, so any new contracts of anyone coming out, anyone, like, again, we can't be like, well, that guy might be suspect. Put it in every contract. Who cares? Because again, we're ethical people, me and you, that we know of. But it's, put a contract. We should have a contract. Me and you have a contract, right? Then you get future Awestruck royalties. So I'm just
Yeah,
saying, like, there should be something potentially in there. It wouldn't be hard to throw a clause into contracts. That's it. And, are you going to object to that? No, that's a good idea. Okay, whatever. Because again, we're still kind of, I think, still missing
the
Warren Ellis
person who
reprints of
says
stuff.
no,
We're missing stuff, you know.
we are. The creator who says no is now suspect. Like I'm not going to do
Yeah,
that. I'm like why? It's
right. You
almost like
want to
a
divulge, right? Exactly. It's almost like a tell. You want to say what's up. So that's all. There's so many, and if you look through, there's so many projects. We know that Marvel isn't going to be doing Miracle Man, Dark
that hurts
Age.
me. That hurts me a lot.
Yeah, it's just so now what? So now you're going to have projects that you kind of had, maybe not necessarily in the can, but you had projects around that were going to be, Marvel has not been able to successfully do Miracle Man. Sorry, you messed it up. Like it never got there the correct way. The reprints didn't land. You edited some of the reprints. Like, come on, man. You guys just messed it up like as it went. And did you ever get that
Yes.
omnibus? I feel like I need to get that omnibus if I ever find that relatively cheap, right? Because I feel like there's
Let's
a
see.
Miracle Man omnibus that's everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There is a Miracle Man on the disc by it collects all the Alan Moore stuff and extra stuff and how they did some of the pages. Because I tried to ask him one time. I was at a talk and they were telling about how they were doing the Miracle Man. And I'm like, well, you guys scanning the comics or do you have all the original art? He's like, yeah, we're working really hard on this. I'm like, yeah, that's not an answer.
Right, right,
Like,
right,
because
right.
they recolored Alan Moore's entire Miracle Man run, and
Mhm.
I really doubt they had access to all that art.
No,
You
no,
know,
we're curious on different reprint things on how do they like scan it? Do they strip it out? Then they recolor? Like, how does it
right?
all work?
Is is
We're
is
kind of
there is
fascinated with
there a
all
thing in
that stuff.
Photoshop where you can be like, just give me the black lines? We're curious.
Kinda. It's hard.
Yeah,
It's hard. So speaking of original art and how it all kind of works is that, I guess it's interesting. So basically Scott Dunbier, which we've heard different podcasts with him on, he has multiple hard drives, multiple he has the most original scanned art, period, right?
yes,
So when he broke away from IDW, I guess he owns either the concept of artist editions or he's just going to take it because it's technically a creator situation. The creators are going to follow him because he was the
yeah.
guy,
I
right?
don't think IDW is going to do this without him. Like, I don't know if the
They have
profits were that
some
good.
set up. They have some that are probably still in the works that he maybe started concept, but he couldn't take. I feel like there's one or
Okay,
two left that they're doing, but you're right. I feel like that's a situation. So he names it Act Four because I guess in his life, this is his Act Four. Because Scott
yeah,
Dunbier had what? He was basically an editor for Wildstorm
yes,
starting.
yes. He was original art dealer, and then a Wildstorm editor, and then eventually to this.
Right, right. So
Do this fourth act. I don't know what
do
he did before
this.
that. I don't know if he was a comic dealer or not.
Well, I guess this. Then I guess when he went to IDW, that was Act Three. This is Act Four. Anyway, but kind of cool. It's it basically meaning that he's going to Image, which we believe that he was going to do his own separate publishing house. But now Skybound
Right.
has this. So this is interesting because technically Skybound's a separate company and they're going to house this. And the first thing when you saw this, you're like, oh, well, that's good because Skybound has money. So, which is
Yeah.
correct. You're not going to worry about is this book is going to come out, which we'd have to be nervous if Scott Dummer did his own book, did his
Right.
own publishing company. So it has a better concepted one. So, but the first one of the first
Yeah.
releases here.
Skybound already has deals internationally, publishing cheaper. Like it's a better move, and that money you save with the Skybound image printing discounts is better because I know Skybound takes a little piece, Image takes a
Mm,
little piece,
sure.
but the money he's saving makes it worth it.
I think well, this is probably a different deal, but I think Skybound he, they pay them before the book comes out. So that's I believe it's funded. I believe that it's a contract that they get paid along the way, and then they get whatever royalties. But I believe that that's how that works. I feel that was one of the original contracts. So Extremity got paid.
Good.
So Dan Warren Johnson got paid before it came out, and then waiting and worrying, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a different image model as well. So this was mentioned. This was also mentioned that Sean Phillips is going to do the book design, which is going to kind of follow up his book design that he does on all of his Reckless
Parker.
books and everything else.
Right.
Parker Act Two, he did. He didn't do
Mhm.
the original Martini edition, but he did the Act Two, which is great. So Jim Aparo, that's super fun. So this is going to be, I imagine, some Batman, some Brave and the Bold. There's a giant Jim Aparo Brave and the Bold run, essentially, and Adventure Comics. I know Batman's on here, but I
Mhm.
would really love some Jim Aparo Aquaman in here. I think his Aquaman's kind of the best 70s Aquaman.
Right.
Dave Stevens, always a big, that's probably going to be, this is more of a crossover sell. I feel like this will sell to a lot of other art people, not necessarily comics
This
people.
is smart to get out now because he had a documentary come out last year and it made all Dave Stevens books worth money.
Mm,
Every cover he did, because he did a lot of cover work in the 80s, like
mm.
for books that don't have a lot of printed copies out there. So this is
The
great.
Alien Worlds and a lot of stuff for Eclipse, a lot of
Correct.
stuff for, so
Vanguard covers, you know.
yeah. And I mentioned this because I was like, I don't know. I mean, I've read the first storyline of Ragnarok, the Walter
Mhm.
Simon's Ragnarok, the Connoisseur edition. But I believe this is every single. issue, every issue's pages. Okay. So I guess the only thing there, and I think you mentioned that you believe that it was Denbier even said something to Simon, like, "Hey, why don't you do your own Thor thing?" And he's like, "Okay,"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
and
he
he
did
does.
that. So this is almost like a pet project that he's happy to have. And listen, you're gonna want to keep Simonson happy because Simonson does not sell us his work. It's hanging out. So if they want to do anything, if they ever did an Orion artist edition or connoisseur edition, whatever they're gonna call it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So wait a minute. What's the spirit called? What's what? What is
So
a
let's go back.
connoisseur edition?
Connoisseur edition, artist edition. Yeah, so I don't know.
What was the spirit called?
Connoisseur edition.
Connoisseur edition.
Oh, so wait. So
So
I
is
wonder if the
so is,
connoisseur editions are they complete?
are they are connoisseurs artwork or is it stories?
So in when he had IDW, it was artisan edition is not the complete thing. I think artist edition was like the complete
Like
thing,
a complete comic,
the
right? An
complete
artisan
comic.
was
Yeah,
like just a bunch of
stuff.
pages. Um, so
Because
what is
there's a Jack
connoisseur?
Kirby one. There's a Jack Kirby art kind of. I think there's a Jack Kirby artisan edition which has a bunch of New Godsy stuff.
Right.
I think it literally says like fourth world kind of, so connoisseur,
So
I
so
guess is
is the
more complete.
spirit
The spirit's complete
see
because it has it basically says it here where
does it say original art or is it just like a hardcover?
I don't know, it says never before seen drawing. So here it basically says that the spirit is going to be 1 through 6 and 8 through 12. Number 7 was a fill-in. It might have been Aragones. There was a
Right.
couple people that worked on that. And Spirit, Batman Spirit one shot. So every bit of Darwin Cook in that realm plus uh Rocket, two variant covers for Rocketeer, The Spirit, and Never Before Seen Drawing. So that's
I think this is
a
just a hardcover.
complete.
It's like an absolute edition.
Yeah, yeah, but that's
This
going to
isn't
be
but
that's
this isn't
still.
original art. This is just a hardcover.
Mm, no,
That's what this
I think it's. I don't know. No, you're thinking that it's colors? No, I
yeah.
think it's. I think it's. I thought it was all scans. I'm not sure actually. Now I'm not sure now. So you think it's actually just reprinting of the
Now
Spirit?
collect it in its entirety for the first time in this oversized collectible edition. Yeah, I
Oh,
think this is just like an absolute. I think it's an absolute.
ah, interesting. Because he came up with the absolute. So okay,
Yeah,
that's right. Because when he was with Wildstorm, he came out with absolute. So you think that? So let's go back here. So here. So
I
this
think this.
is.
See, this is
Oh,
Darwin Cook's The Complete Spirit Connoisseur Edition.
right. So
I
that's
think
going to
this
have
is
the Dave Stewart colors and all that stuff. I see.
yes, yeah. This
This
is
is
an
the
artist
artist
edition.
edition.
This
I
is
got it.
totally original art, covers and stories. So I think this is.
Just a Dave Steven reprint.
I think
Colors.
this is every Dave Stevens. Yeah, I think it's got to be what. Yeah, what's available in
Oh,
color will be color. You know, you and I wanted to pitch to our buddy. We want to do Awestruck editions of hardcovers. We talked about it. There's a lot of stuff out there in the '80s that has never been collected,
mm,
and Dave Stevens was actually one of the ones I wanted to talk to you about. I'm like, oh, we need a Dave Stevens collection, and in general, I wanted to do like Alien Planets. Like those would be incredible hardcovers. I don't know why
yeah.
there's not collections of those books.
Right.
It's real easy to get 80% of Bruce Jones anthology books from the '80s.
Mhm.
You can find them
Right.
cheap for $1. But then there's
Yeah.
ones that are just worth money. The Dave Stevens ones are worth money. The Art Adams ones are worth money. And then there's just ones that have less printing, you know?
Yeah. Doing the P. Craig Russell month that I'm doing now for the Idiosyncratic Pulp Instagram. That's interesting because again, there's so much stuff that he either adapted. There's stuff through Dark Horse Eclipse, Pacific. Like there's so much stuff everywhere. Marvel
Yeah.
Magazine. But then he did his own oversized night music, which was basically like a mail away. Like so, there's so much stuff that, yeah. If you guys need help, I will help do the the P. Craig Russell one
Yeah.
because again, he did the Magic Flute, he did like Rudyard, and like
He
there's so much
needs
stuff.
he needs an
Mad
Allstruck edition
Dog,
made.
pretty much, yeah. I mean, so this is pretty fantastic. Body
So
Bags
this
is artist edition.
artist,
Okay,
yeah, this will
so
look really
then
nice.
I see. So maybe I guess he owns the artist edition name. I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, I just grabbed a couple collectibles things this week. So here's this was only $25. It says limited to 7,400 pieces. I don't know what 74. I don't know what the 7,400. Usually if he does it, McFarlane does like a limited, the number will mean something. So this I'm not really exactly sure. But this is King Kong, the eighth wonder of the world statue, which I guess it says statue, $25. This doesn't move. Um, I thought it was interesting that it has, Movie Maniacs is this thing, Kong that I guess he has the Kong license, but this is King Kong. I don't know. I thought it looked okay. Again, I'm very confused with, and I feel like there's almost too much McFarlane stuff coming out because I feel like this is just kind of thrown out there.
McFarlane, you know what it is? I don't know if there's any McFarlane collectors anymore. I don't know if there's
Yeah,
anyone who's like, oh, McFarlane's putting out Kong. He's putting out,
got to get this. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
got it out. This is for the Kong people. Like the Marvel toys are for the Marvel people. The DC toys are for the DC people. Is
Well, I
there
guess this makes sense.
overlapping? Sure.
7,400. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
there's
7,400, so that's fine. And like again, don't make and it's just funny that there's a number to it. Mini poster and bonus items. Okay, that's fine.
$25 is cheap. You know,
This is the Hot Toys. So the only reason I thought, and it's funny when I pulled this up earlier when we looked at it, you're like, oh, it's the Vulture. It's the Vulture's costume. And I'm like, oh, I guess so.
yeah, you kind of got like, oh, I kind of like that, Rob. Like you can still like
Right,
it.
right. Yeah,
It just,
yeah.
looks like the Vulture. He
Yeah,
doesn't
I
look like the
mean,
Falcon. To,
I don't really care about this movie. Really, the Captain America Brave New World, I don't care about it. I don't know. I I don't know. And again, to me, this is very similar to when people say, "Oh, this comic movie, that comic movie." I said, "Listen, they already went through all the A-listers. We already went through the 60 stuff. We started Fox did some 70 stuff. They did Ghost Rider. You know what I mean? Like it's the
yeah,
Werewolf by
Blade
Night,
did
Blade,
a
like
new
they
line. Yeah, we got,
yeah.
yeah.
So we got a lot of 70s concept and stuff, right? And then we're into the 80s and
E
90s, which is all replaced characters. 2000s,
uh,
Miles
well,
Morales.
Falcon 70s and Eternals is 70s and Shang-Chi is the 70s.
Right, right, right. So
It's
we
all
got the
br
B
it's,
list.
and you know what?
Moon Knight.
Uh, People don't really love the Bronze Age. Like you and I have an appreciation
I
for
love
it, but we're not Bronze Age people. If you think
Right.
about it, we're fans of 60s and 90s and 80s and 90s.
Hmm.
We're you can't call 90s modern anymore. I always like calling it the Chromium Age, but I
Hmm.
don't think that's. I think some people call it the Dark Age, which I think is ludicrous.
Yeah, that's well, because they'll go, but they'll say copper. They'll say copper is 86. They'll say 70 to 84, 85 is bronze. And then they'll say copper is, depending on what you
But
see.
copper
I don't
doesn't.
know.
When you say copper, because you're talking post-crisis through 2000.
Right.
Like that's
Yeah,
not
it's a
copper. That
little
doesn't feel. Copper just feels like a rip off of bronze.
right.
It feels.
They're just trying to do another metal. I understand what they're
Yeah,
trying to do,
that's why I said chromium.
But the Dark Age, but yeah, but it would be funny to say chromium because that was the age of chromium covers of gimmicks and things, and that was the 90s. So but yeah, it wasn't. I don't really care about this, but I feel like this design looks really good. I think that looks good. I gotta get a better picture of that, but like it's fine. I don't know when I'm seeing this really because we have plans next weekend.
Right.
Uh, I don't know when I'm seeing this. I might even see this. I might even do the old school Mark like Wednesday, Thursday night, like by myself and mad, which is my favorite. It's kind of my favorite Mark,
Yeah.
meaning like I'll go
It's
to
a
a movie by
shame.
myself. Like I saw Joker like that. I saw Joker. I know I couldn't go with you guys. I went like on a Tuesday or Thursday night by myself to the movie theater, big popcorn, icy, and I just get mad about it.
It's a
Like
shame your schedule doesn't
I'm
line up with
already
ours.
mad at this. I know, but I'm already mad at it. So like, so I can go one of two ways with this one, right? I can go in super no expectation and really kind of like it, which I'm going to try and do. But I know me, and I know that I don't really want this movie. So, and it's not that I don't want the movie. Here's the thing: there's so many production problems with this movie. Is I feel it's going to be choppy and I know too much about the backstory in it. I knew too much about like that was reshot, name was changed, this person's in it, that person's not in it. Let's have that.
Right, right.
I'm going to be mad if Diamondback isn't in it at all. Probably she is not
Hmm.
going to be in it. Another Rosa Salazar flub.
Which kills
She's
us
great.
because we love Diamondback.
I
Diamondback
love
is like
Diamondback.
she's like the black cat of Captain America.
I
She was
just think
bad.
that they're going to
She
take
kind
her
of
out.
regrets it. Yeah.
Mhm.
falls in love with
Rosa
Cap. Like,
Salazar, who is Battle Angel, she keeps getting projects where she gets shafted. She had a really good series on that was like half animated called Undone. It was great on Amazon, but no one was looking for it. It came and went. One season, they want to do more seasons. The way they shot it like kind of like rotoscoped. And then they like re-over animated. It was really good. It's really, really good. It's called the
sweet.
Undone or the Undone.
Yeah.
They wanted season two. No one watched it. Gone. Battle Angel came out, came and went, has a big cliffhanger ending. Could do the next Battle Angel, which what I think they kind of
They
combine.
talk about it. They talk about doing a
There's
follow up to
no
it.
way they're going to do it. It's too expensive. No, zero way they're going to be able to do that movie. 0.0.
You might be wrong on
So
that one.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Um, here's so this is 3-0. So here's some fun looking. There's a wonderful looking Optimus Prime. I did put in this is 100. It's 10 inches tall. It says 50 points of articulation, but it's non-transforming. It's an impressive transforming figure.
You know,
Transformers figure.
the crazy thing about Prime is he's really easy to transform.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's no
It's
reason
more
if you have
licensing here.
if you have yeah,
That's
no, you're right. No, you're 100% right. Hasbro says, yeah, you can do Optimus Prime, but he can't transform.
yeah,
You could do anyone can get rights to Transformers almost. They just can't transform. But
right.
can
But
you?
that's
But with your 50
the
points of
name.
articulation, can you put those legs all the way back and put those arms like just by chance? No,
Almost transform them. You can
almost
almost
transform them.
transform them. You can, yeah, you can almost fold it together. But this, I never even finished the series. It's so funny. Like we want this. Oh, I want Cybertron. I want this. I want that. I want this to look like that.
Yes,
And it looks that good. And I was bored by the first 20 minutes of the first episode. I'm like, oh no, I can't watch the show. And it's like, how many episodes is this? Like 30 or something? It's like a lot.
there's 3 seasons of it, and I only watched the first season, which is crazy because I love Transformers.
I know I can't. And then so yeah, some pretty cool. I don't know if
I'll
his
watch
eyes
it.
light up, but or if there's lights in there or just the way that it's look there, you got the hands. Like why can't you just make flexible hands? Why do you need that many? I don't know. The hands are so confusing to me with these collectible toys, man. Because
It's just
again,
become a thing. It's just become a thing with
I
hands. I
know,
don't
but
know.
once I have stuff up, that's it. You know what I mean? If you gave me a
Yeah.
different Godzilla, like I have Godzilla's with the
Yep.
the all the charges coming out of his mouth and stuff like that, but I put it in and that's it. Like it's not I don't need 20 different charges.
No.
And here's the Megatron, which is a really cool design, and I like it's again, but that's another 190, right? So at best you're spending $400, or at best maybe 300 if you get them on pre-order. But overall, looks really great.
No. Really
3-0.
nice looking.
Same thing with Hot Toys. Hot Toys, I don't care about them. They're not for me. They're for Dave Mandel. They're for California people, right? This I thought was weird. So this is a superpowers. So, but the whole point of the superpowers line, I thought, was to look like to make
A
new toys.
superpowers that look like
But
superpowers.
yeah, but this looks like the animated. This looks like the animated Bruce Timm design. But then you have this. To me, this is a very confusing design all over the place. Okay.
Right. And then you
Be-
got pickup art by Bisley. It looks
what
like
are you
Bisley pickup
doing?
art.
It's exactly. So to me, this is just a confusing mess of a. You got to be consistent with it. Like they did a Jonathan, they did a Thomas Wayne Batman. They did whatever. What's that? Flashpoint Batman.
Right. Right.
Great,
They do
great.
whatever. Did they do Red Son Superman or they did
They did
Justice
Redstone
Lord
Superman.
Superman?
They did the Jira
Justice Lords, right?
Kutagawa. Yeah, they did Jira Kutagawa's Batman
Mhm.
manga, 67 manga. Great, great idea. I almost bought that. Great, do that. But this, I don't know. This is just a confusing situation here. This is where I'm saying too far away. Don't get too far away from the concept. It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If this was if this was regular size, because he does also do the regular 6-inch size animated cartoon versions in his regular line. So why is this here? Yeah, anyway.
All right.
Yeah, mad about it. So this is the opposite, is that there is a Motu Masterverse line. So here you have this is I think $40. This
Wow.
is awesome looking.
Yeah.
And also, there was an art book I think came out a month or two ago. So they have a new attorney. There's they keep Dark Horse keeps doing these really good art books and different designs and different. There's so many of that, but they have the Art of He-Man is amazing. But then they also recently did this. They did like the Art of New Eternia stuff,
Right.
you know. But I love like look at all this packaging design. Oh my God. Like and this to me, you're doing really good design work. You're doing the same type of painterly. This is probably on the computer, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing
It's
future
that
painterly design. Earl Norem,
Rolling
like
Rome
come
exactly.
on.
Saunders, yeah, really good
So
painting.
just, but even the promo art, like that's really cool looking. Like
You
that's
know,
really
one of
fun.
the things I love about He-Man is we talked about it before. He-Man itself is a failed Conan line, which they just went
Mhm.
crazy with. Like, hey, let's put a guy with three eyes and let's do a guy
Yeah,
with
we're
two
gonna have
heads,
New
and
Gods concepts. We're gonna have a bunch of concepts in it.
it's
Mhm.
crazy. And then they're like, well, what do we? They create vehicles. The vehicles are all
Mhm.
on point. And then they're like, hey, we have this old line of jungle toys. I think it was called Big Jim. So here's a
That's right.
tiger. Let's just color him purple. Let's take that same tiger mold, and make him green with stripes. Hey, we got an
Right.
eagle. Let's make him Zoar, the
Right.
sorceress. And then they had this gorilla. Like, oh, let's put him in the line. And they didn't. They have this gorilla from
Oh.
the Big Jim line they never used till like later. Like in
Hmm.
recent years, they're like, we have a prototype for it. Let's just do it. So they did it.
But
I'm just like,
that's what I think we like about the Transformers line. The Transformers line was Takara Toys. It was, how many
later
different
on, it was Bandai
lines?
toys and Macross molds. They just
Yeah,
like
but what was the original Transformers lines? It was
it
like
was the micro change and
micro
the
change.
Diaclone.
Right. So
Micro change was all the
the
small
different
ones,
molds.
the Soundwave, the Megatron, and Diaclone was all the vehicles.
But the gun was something else entirely. Like it was like, isn't Megatron a different thing
No, Me-
altogether, potentially?
Megatron, I think is micro change.
Okay.
He was not the leader though; he's just a warrior.
Right.
But they
Right.
had like another gun mold which we never got here in America. They're like, oh, we'll take this gun, but not this gun.
Right, right.
Um,
We need the Luger. We need the German Luger
yeah,
gun
no, we need
that turns
the
into
Walther,
like a scope gun.
right? The
So
Walther P38, the only gun I could like tell you what it is.
exactly. So just from this. So we already in a previous news show, all
Yeah,
avid viewers. I know we already covered this, guys. I'm sorry.
avid viewer.
Avid viewer. But here's the actual box design, which I think some of them are pretty good. So this is the comic. You have your own comic accessory. So in a weird world, you have Adam Warlock, the George Perez, Ron Lim design,
Mhm.
and then he reads his own comic book, I guess. I don't know. But I wonder how many pages are in there if there's actual pages. Like I don't know if I've seen a reverse
Is it
shot
is it pages or
of
just a
that.
little piece of plastic? I think it's just
I
a
think
little
it's
piece of
just,
plastic.
yeah, I think so, but it's kind of funny. So yeah, all right. So that's a Perez. That's from a Benny Gauntlet one.
Mhm.
That's I think a Cockrum, right?
Right.
And that makes sense. That's all right.
That's the best kind of rum, the cock rum.
Yeah, this is so you got Smiley. I think this is kind of funny because this literally is that was the new Avengers. You're like, oh, there's Wolverine up there, but he was always smiling. So I think that's kind of
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, because he loved what he did.
Yeah. You got Rom
You
Space Knight. That's a Michael Golden
you,
cover.
you
Very
getting them?
nice. So I have to buy two. I think I have to get two of these. I don't know. Because first off,
That checks.
yeah, so I gotta look but right now Big Bad Toy Store is already sold out on pre-order. I gotta check Entertainment Earth, but I
Wow.
think they're 30 or 40 bucks a piece. I don't know. I'll have to budget. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Who carries these? Does Walmart or Target? Both of them?
I feel I don't know where anything is anymore because shouldn't we be on the second or third line of the McFarlane like statuey things, right?
Right. People say they see him at Target, but I've never seen him at Target.
I've never seen them anywhere. I've
But I
never seen
also
anything.
only go to Target like once every 6 months. Like I don't, not really the shopper in this
Yeah, I
house.
don't know. I'm near a Walmart, so I go to Walmart, but I see like the same McFarlane toys, and it's like meh,
Yeah,
So,
I do. I do see.
um, and I guess this bot to me this was fine, but this bothered me because I feel like that doesn't look like my brain miles. I feel like this does a bit, but that doesn't. I'm not sure. Again, I got to see when it comes out, but I feel like there there's a couple different miles that could do a La Fuente, Pacelli. I feel like you should do a Pacelli
Yeah,
miles here. I feel like this is a newer one.
yeah.
Um, this was a live stream that they had. There's not a good angle of this. I think this is probably pretty good. This is it looks like a smaller version. Did you ever see the version of the blue cape thing
Not in real life.
in
No,
person? It's
no.
crazy. Look, I saw it at House of Fun. It's like this big. It's so
Okay.
dumb. It's so
Wow.
dumb looking that it's kind of great. It's kind of great. This one I think is a big flub. I don't understand this at all. First off, like, So I don't know if you get the book there. I can't really tell what this is, but this is,
I think it's just a stand behind them, right? It's just a plastic stand.
I guess, but why would you put like you're gonna just put a big black like I just don't understand.
Plus, it's black behind them on the cover.
I guess, but this is terrible.
It's like we're giving you more than the cover, and it's
But
like
I don't
I
want
don't.
more than the cover. That's the
Oh,
that's it. I wanted that. So maybe if you had to do this, Awestruck Solutions Department right now, ready? Boom. If you had to do this for whatever, you don't need to do this. But if you had to do this and you had to do cloth and it's all wrong. It's all wrong. You could
no,
do,
he looks like Rorschach almost there. You know,
yeah. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was a different Rorschach figure. If you had this, you could crop this out and or you can just do this.
you could just do
Do sculpt that.
a diorama statue.
You can just sculpt what you see, and then you have a little clear Killing Joke thing up top there, right? You
Right.
get in front of it. Just make that. Who's buying this?
Somebody.
Future clearance rack. All right, here's a good Grodd. Very good. I like the scale. Great. Probably 40 bucks. Sure. This was a pretty good, very easy, and this is Murphy Anderson design, right? It's a
Yeah.
classic. It's never going to be different. It's always they can make some tweaks and stuff to it, but pretty much wonderful, wonderful design. He has a screaming head for some reason, no different hands. And it's weird. It's funny, like going this back and forth, it almost looks like it's a similar mold. It's kind of not. And then a fine dead shot's fine.
Yeah.
That's
That's
fine.
fine.
But that's about it. That was all my news that I had here. Just kind of simple. I like to pull the collectible stuff just because we're not really in the collectibles realm, but I like looking at that
No,
stuff
I
and
really enjoy looking at it. You know, and every
yeah.
once in a while something will inspire me to get it. The only thing I think I want to add to the news of the week was that Jurassic Park new trailer dropped, and it's
No.
another case of like don't care about the people, just kind of want to see the dinosaurs.
Right.
Um, but like YouTube saw that I watched the video, I was like, hey, here's something else, and it was like this guy comparing the original book to the original two movies, just how different they
Oh,
are,
okay. Hmm.
and the death scenes in the book are gruesome,
Hmm.
like really gruesome, like a Wayne Knight's character. Uh, well, in the first Jurassic Park,
All right. So
Newman,
I always think he says, well, Newman is the Seinfeld,
Newman's.
but
I know. What was his name in the movie? Like
I don't
Nedry?
remember. I always
No,
say him. Yeah, I think it was Nedry.
Nedry. He,
Dennis Nedry.
Dennis Nedry. Like in the book, he like, oh my god, he's like reaches down and he because once he gets blinded, he reaches down and he's like, what's all this rope around me? And it's like his intestines. He was already eviscerated,
Oh
and
my
then he
God.
feels like he's like, oh, I have a headache now, and it's like then you and now I can't see, and then you know, it's just like describes his death. And there's some stuff in Lost World that really like the little Consobnathuses, the little green ones.
Oh, right,
They're
right,
like
right.
eating like a baby. You know, this nurse comes in a nursery and they're like eating a baby. And there's just all these gruesome horror scenes. And then I think some people are making some like found footage, creepy pasta, like their own videos of like the deleted scenes of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Really
that's funny.
creepy. I'm like, that's really neat. But like obviously Steven Spielberg wanted to sell this movie and make toys out of it. So it's hard to do that when you have like really R-rated death scenes in these books.
Well,
I don't know.
well, David Koepp is writing this new one, right? He's writing the new one. He
I believe so.
he he adapted the initial one. He wrote the first Spider-Man movie. He's pretty much been pretty around. Who's in this? You got Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson, and I don't
But
know the
this
rest of their
this doesn't
names.
have Bryce Dallas Howard. They're not continuing
As far as I
where they
know,
are.
it's a continuation, but not a real continuation. It's like they're going back to the island where like this is where we left the big dinosaurs that were too dangerous for the theme park. So there's like Spinosauruses, which is the big one from part three, but it's more accurate to what they've discovered since then. You
Well,
know, big mosasaurs, pterodactyls, Quetzalcoatlus, which is like a pterodactyl the size of a giraffe.
yeah, this might go
So
the
it's
way of the way of Alien slash Terminator for me. So where the sequels are now worse than there's too many there's extra than there are of the initial. So it used to be Alien 1, 2, right? Great.
right.
3, meh. And then you have 4, which was Salvation or what was the one?
Yeah, I
Or
think no, not, I was Terminator with Salvation.
yeah, yeah. So but then you have
Resurrection?
4, yeah,
I don't know.
Resurrection, because that was with the guy who did City of Lost Children, Anomaly, that directors were like, all right, cool, we're gonna see this, and it was gross and not that great. So then you have two and two, right? Then you have five, which is what, five Prometheus? They do Prometheus next, or they go do
Right.
Alien Predator stuff.
Alien Predators, they came
Meh.
out next
So
year.
none of them, they're all nightmares. So, and then so I feel like we're so far away. So maybe because I have very little. And then I almost wanted to see the Alien Romulus last year, but then after I heard from Act Two on, is nothing but like nostalgia bait and member berries.
Did you hear that they went back and fixed what's the name's face?
Ian Holmes.
Yeah, Ian Holmes. Like they said, yeah, the movie just looks too computery fake. So they went back to the more practical. Because how they even did that was they went to Lord of the Rings special effects guys and like,
The
oh, you
Weta
got
guys,
Ian,
yeah.
yeah, the Weta guys, and they got his face from that. They had it. So they actually went back, and I think if you go watch Aliens Romulus now, it's a more practical effect and
So
not
weird
so
that they can
CG.
just do patches and stuff like that all the time, which I think is really weird and wrong. Also wrong.
It's well, sometimes that's great. When George Lucas went back and fixed Yoda in Episode One, that looked better.
But it's
You
more
know,
consistent. It became more consistent in the viewing. That I guess is okay because it was so close to. But I hate when they go back and like I think it's really funny when you watch episode one. I'm sorry, they Star Wars Special Edition. How much stuff is on the screen at the same time? Like it's like there's so much stuff on the screen you can't see anything. Like you
right?
can't it's like you got this guy walking ahead and a rock and like it's just there's so much stuff along that you can't see anything. So. But yeah, light news week. So we're gonna keep it going.
Yeah,
So stay tuned. Keep it tight. Keep it tight. Go Birds. They were winning. Gonna win today, I feel. So
we're in the past now, so either we look really cool or like you guys are morons. The Chiefs killed them.
I'll say
Let's
here's hot take. Ready? Here's hot take.
right.
Regardless of outcome, Philadelphia will have $1 million to $3 million worth of damage to it. Cool. Good job, guys.
Yeah, they'll
We
either be
win, damage. We will destroy. There's a lot of people that always get on the like the SEPTA like stands. Like there's stuff
they're
going to be
they're
destroyed. They're going to jump on the
they're
poles. There's
climbing
going to
up
be
light poles.
five
Yeah,
deaths. I believe someone who from when they won 2 weeks ago, a dude climbed the pole, hit his head. Now he's dead. Great. You know what I
ugh.
mean? Like so we're it's not the best. It's not the best look. And again, I'm on the phone all week and someone might know I'm from Philly or know that our office is near Philly, and we just get our viewpoint from anyone, California, Louisiana, people I talk to throughout the country. We have the worst look. We're the worst fan look in the country, hands down. So I
Yeah.
expect us to keep that reputation going. I'm sorry in advance. You're welcome. So that's it for it all. And we'll see everyone real soon. Share, subscribe, send to a friend. And yeah, have
And
the
talk about it.
best.
Talk about us and talk to us. We like a good conversation, as you can clearly see.
We talk a lot. So please share, and subscribe.